of course, that's Grace, by the way. Grace, yay, you're not here today, I'm sorry. Our female aquanauts were amazing, Grace Young and Liz McGee. I'm sorry they're not here with us tonight because we spent some amazing times down there. They have some more stories to tell you one of these days, hopefully they will. But to be able to have young people down there from all the different education entities, to be able to share in Mission 31 was amazing. One of the things we wanted to do, however, is test ourselves unofficially, on a personal level. That's the disclaimer for everyone who's talking about permits. The Muse is a readily available piece of equipment that you can use to monitor your circadian rhythms, which is very important down there, as well as your blood pressure, your dissolved oxygen, your well-being, your state of mind. Because, you know, staking in a small habitat for 31 days with 5 other people that you just met is not necessarily the easiest thing in the world. And, you know, it's very stressful. Some people take it well. Some people love that kind of closed environment. Some people need a breath of fresh air every so often, hence the ocean walks. But we were able to monitor this, and we were also able to monitor our sleep patterns. And all those things, of course, are invaluable to be able to look into the next generation of habitats. Can we live beyond 31 days underwater? Well, the answer is yes. Can we do 6 months? Can we do a year? Can we do a village? Can we do a city? Can we do a network of cities around the world? I believe so. It's just a matter of financing. It's a matter of support. Because technologically speaking, we can do that. Physiologically, it's difficult, but I believe with the right people, you can do that. Now, sometimes the nitrogen gets the better of us. And no, that is not an injury. That's the result of someone, and that person will remain nameless, playing with Kool-Aid powder and putting it in booties. Now, if you've ever drunk Kool-Aid, you know that it stains. Not only does it stain, but it stains for a full week. So Grace was walking around with a red foot for a full week, and that was very funny. Now, there is such a thing called aquanaut humor. I won't get into it tonight because none of you will find it funny. But when you're down there for 31 days, it becomes very prevalent. And these kinds of jokes happen more often than not. Why are you laughing? That's not funny. Well, it is kind of. I put this up because at the end of the day, you know, I don't want to make this sound lighter than it is. It is an extraordinarily difficult endeavor. And you do go down, and there are risks, there are challenges, there's a lot of consideration. A lot of us came out of this with ear infections, blockages, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it was all very much worth it. And those are little boo-boos. Luckily, we had no major incidences during Mission 31. And because we saturated, because we went down there and our bodies equalized to the 3 atmospheres of pressure and everything, and it gave us the leisure of time, it was time to give that time back, to pay back the credit that we ran up. And so for 18 hours, we were in the habitat, locked out, closed the door, and slowly brought the pressure up to get back to surface pressure, so that for one final time, we could say farewell to our fishy neighbors and go back up to the surface where we reached our own friends and family. I'm going to rectify something I said earlier. The food wasn't the hardest part for me. It was coming back to the surface. Because as time progressed down there, that became my home. The fish, the sea creatures, coral reefs became the underwater city, the neighborhood that I became so familiar with. It became the fascinating place that I had grown really attached to. As a matter of fact, a week before we came back up, I started getting a little bit of a panic attack. Oh my God, we have to go back up? We have so much left to do. can we stay another month? Believe me, I almost got shot for that one. But I guess the easiest way to say this is that when it came time to open up that door, to swim back to the surface, it was a sad moment for me. It was probably the most difficult because I was leaving this new home, I was leaving this unique space, and this amazing once-in-a-lifetime experience. Experience touching the world touching us, experience of being an aquanaut. And who knows, maybe I'll get a chance to do this again sometime. I know others will. I certainly hope we inspire future aquanauts to do so, maybe in those underwater cities, to be able to push further, longer, deeper. But when I pierced that surface, that was the moment of reality. That was the moment that was the hardest. Because I was going from a noisy, amazing, fireworks display of life. Every day there was something new. Every day there was something amazing. And yet, you pierce back into air, onto land, and there's silence. And there's emptiness. There's just a boat with a few human beings waiting for you. And that's when I realized how important, not only Mission 31, but this amazing place called the ocean is to all of us. Whether you care about dolphins or critters and you want to hug them and save them, or whether it's just a pragmatic sense, dollars and cents, of health. The oceans reflect all of those things. Because what we do to the oceans, we do to ourselves. And because we have the luxury of time, I'm told that we're going to be able to generate over 10 scientific papers, or 3 years worth of science in that 31 days. And that we'll share with the world. And I find that to be important, because the oceans are a communal platform, and so should the knowledge that we come back with from our natural environment, so that those future generations can be those better stewards than we were. So with that said, what does the future look like? Does it look like this? Well, I certainly think so. Because there are all sorts of cures to diseases and cancer and all that are waiting for us to discover, just like in the rainforest. All sorts of resources out there, such as sustainable energy. All sorts of knowledge and mystery out there, such as those alien creatures that are waiting for us to discover. And that geography that's so little known. I believe there will be an Atlantis, or maybe a network of them. But it's up to all of us to create that. And with that said, I want to leave you with the teaser. Because at the end of the day, Mission 31 was successful enough that I decided to double down on the punishment. And I find that that knowledge that we gained and the knowledge that we will continue to gain is and should always be common property. So we're creating an ocean learning center in South Florida to continue on the outreach, the virtual outreach to education entities in Florida and around the world, to share with them virtually all that knowledge through Skype in the classroom, through packets that are Board of Ed certified, traveling exhibit so that any one of you can become a virtual aquanaut. You can experience what it was like to be part of Mission 31 and seriously walk through a traveling exhibit of Mission 31. And lastly, the documentary, which we're in the throes of fundraising for and finding distributors. And I'm happy to say that there's a lot of interest, not only in the documentary, but in the oceans. So let me leave you with this little teaser to give you a little bit of a glimpse, just a little glimpse, of what this documentary will be like, which we project and hope will be shown summer of next year. So here it is.
I want you to meet Captain Fabien Cousteau, the world's foremost underwater explorer.
Once upon a time, my grandfather believed that man could live and work beneath the waves. We began to look at the ocean differently. He inspired me and generations to explore the human-ocean connection. It was a whole new world, a world without sun. And in 1964, he lived and worked for 30 days on the ocean floor. But then something happened. We lost our way. Countless frontiers unexplored. Oceans that need our help more than ever. It's time for a reboot to re-spark the human-ocean connection. My name is Fabien Cousteau. Join me and my crew on a journey to Aquarius, the last undersea habitat, and prove that there is a future for us beneath the waves. Thank you. I'm going to leave you with this. My grandfather used to say, people protect what they love. But how can people protect what they don't understand? And it's for each and every one of us in this room who cares about the ocean to make sure that we tell our stories, to infuse a new generation of adventurers, of explorers, of scientists, of curiosity, and of stewardship of our planet. Thank you all very much. Is this thing on?
Mine's on?
All right. So, do we have questions from the audience during this time that I was...
Yes, we got this new technology here called the Twitter. I have Fabien's laptop or iPad here. I hope you don't mind. I helped you catch up on some emails.
Please do. I'm about 3 weeks late.
We got a lot of great questions. Some kind of repetitive, you know. Are you, will you marry me? Boxer or briefs? And the big one is, why are you laughing?
Because I go commando. I'm kidding. Well, maybe, but you won't know.
But the big one is, people really seem to be intrigued about how do you go to the bathroom on the water?
You know, that's a very common question most people are afraid to ask unless, of course, it's on social media. Do we know who asked that question?
Like about 25 people.
Usually it's the young people who have that sense of wonder and no filter that ask. And then, of course, the adults follow up and go, oh, yeah. Well, it is a closed-loop system, in a sense, right? What goes in must come out. And just like astronauts, we have to deal with all this waste. And I can give you the official answer, which is that imagine that school bus, if you will, or that tube, which is semi-separated into 3 sections. There's the living quarters, the dry lab, and then the wet porch, which is where you get in and out of Aquarius. In the middle, where the dry lab is, there's also a marine toilet, or marine head. And that marine head is really nice and cozy right up against the dry lab. So much so that literally you could do your dry lab experiments while being on the head. So you're basically separated by the rest of your fellow aquanauts by a shower curtain. So I guess my point is that it's a good thing that one of the side effects of going down to Aquarius and saturating is that you lose your sense of taste and a bit of your sense of smell. Because anything that was private becomes very communal and public at Aquarius in Mission 31.
Great answer.
Was that too gross for the audience? I'm sorry, I don't know. I was filtering myself. I'm a sailor, so I could go really deep into details.
Well, this is a good one. Did you or your team experience anything during the M31 that you struggle to explain today? Like, for example, mermaids, Aquaman, sea monsters.
Well, I once saw this kraken, the giant squid, but I think it was because I was narked. No, there were a lot of things. There were a lot of things that you either gloss over because you only have 45 minutes to an hour at that depth, or even less when you go deeper. And I'm talking about the recreational dive tables and all that. That when you can sit there and watch, all of a sudden you go, oh my God, I never saw it. I never know. And now from then on you're tuned in and you really pay attention. Just the simplicity of, I was waiting for Kip one day outside. He was shooting something somewhere else, and I was waiting by this post that was underwater. And I was looking at it, and I love Christmas tree worms. I think they're so neat. They're just cool little critters. And if you saw the slow-mo, in the black and white shots, there were Christmas tree worms, and they tuck in very quickly, and you really need a slow-motion capture. But what I've never seen about Christmas tree worms is what I saw that night, which is that incrustation all around the post. There were about 3 dozen Christmas tree worms all of a sudden in the pitch dark, and I had this little handheld light exploding and smoking. The whole post was smoking with this kind of bluish gray and white smoke. And the smoke turned out to be them spawning. I'd never seen that before. And that to me, it's a very romantic, slow, mesmerizing vision. It's not the fast action, animal eating animal thing, which we saw a lot of as well, but to me that was so amazing and so mesmerizing, and for now I can say that I swam in the ocean's orgasm.
So that's a no on the mermaids.
Well,
Okay.
I can't say. I can neither confirm nor deny the mermaids.
This is